call anybody anything but soft. Do you understand like how bad of a thing it is to be called soft? But a lot of people are soft. I have them in my business. I see them in my industry. There were many times in life where in my mind, I was about to choose the soft decision. Many times in my life. This whole Ralph Waldo Emerson concept about, the only difference between a hero and an average person is the fact that he can take the pain 5 minutes longer. That's the thing. So if you're watching this right now saying, how does that relate to me? Ask yourself, how do you react when tough times show up? How do you react when you're getting tested? How do you react when you have your pain? How do you do under pressure? How do you do it? And by the way, every single time you escape pressure and you say, well, the next time it happens, I'm not going to run. No, that's not how this thing works. Your memory remembers the last 3-4 times how you handled pressure. And it just reacts to the same way you've been doing your entire life. So if you say, well, this didn't work out, I'm going to go to the next thing, you're going to do the same thing again and again and again and again. Pressure sucks. Being tested sucks. There's nothing about it when you're in it that's exciting. Nothing about it that's exciting when you're in it. But there's a lot of great things about it when you come out of it. There's a lot of exciting things about it when you leave it. And all of a sudden you're looking at victories taking place. So moving forward, you want to build toughness? You want to be known somebody that gets things done and you're not soft? The next time you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. The next time you're in a pressure type situation where it sucks and you have the ability to lose and be embarrassed, tolerate the pain a little longer. Go a little longer. The next time you're in a moment that you don't really like being in and it's embarrassing, go a little longer. The next time you're going through pressure type situations where you're being tested, talk to yourself. Actually talk to yourself and say, hey, didn't Ralph Waldo Emerson say the difference between a hero and an average person is that you go 5 minutes longer? I'm going to go 5 minutes longer. Our body can handle a lot of pain that we don't know about. I'm going to push my body to that level. I'm going to push it and test my limits. That's the beautiful part about life.
And I know I've said before that knowledge is the most important thing. But the reality is if you don't have the strength or actually the health to back that up or even to function as a human being physically, then your knowledge and your mental strength doesn't really even matter. So that comes into play. And being big and strong is also totally useless if you're mentally weak and you quit. Now, being mentally strong should actually lead you to being physically strong, because if you are mentally strong, then you can work and train to become physically strong. But if you're mentally weak, then you will not hold the line on the good foods and the good workouts, and you won't get physically strong or healthy. So train your physical strength and exercise your mental strength by doing the right things, the hard things, the things you know you're supposed to do. Do them.
Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, keep coming back again and again and again. If you do what is hard, approaching strangers, talking to people in shopping malls, get up dressed every day, going out prospecting, knowing some way, somehow, with a spirit of expectation, somebody's out here looking for an opportunity. You can go outside right now and see some pigeons, but you're out hunting for eagles, and they're not common. And if you do that over and over and over again, somebody's going to show up. Somebody's going to say, I'm the one.
The only one that can stop you from winning is you. The enemy is not your neighbor. The enemy is not your coworker. Your enemy is not your boss. That enemy is staring you in the face every morning you wake up.
If tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you give for today? Forget everything else. Forget everything else. What would you spend today? Think.
It's possible you can live your dream. It's necessary that you have a plan of action, that you're resilient, that you stick to, and you work with the system, that you work with people, that you give support, and that you be there for them. The people that will make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. There's something in you that says always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. You are different. You have greatness within you.
Don't judge your circumstances and the possibilities for your future based upon what you have now and because of what's going on now. No. That's not the real reality there. What you're going through, if you're going through some hard times, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. It's all right.
You said to yourself, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build this business. I can do it. If anybody's ever done it at any point in time in history, then what's possible for one, it's possible for me, and I'm going to do it. That's what you said to yourself.
You've got to find what you love. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
You don't make men safe by making them weak. In fact, they're much more dangerous when they're weak because they'll stab you in the back when they get the chance, or take advantage of you when they get the chance. You make men safe, let's say, by making them strong and then by making sure that they're disciplined. And so, you've got people like you have got this, let's say, warrior mentality that's a deep part of their temperament. And then you have some choices about what you might do with that. You might try to discipline it and bring it under voluntary control and integrate it into your character, in which then it can make you someone who's stalwart and indomitable and who will move forward, in the face of tremendous risk. And, well, that's the optimal pathway if you have that kind of temperament. I think, it's the men that have the most, what would you call it? It's not aggressive exactly, but we'll leave it at that. Aggressive and fearless temperaments that can be the best men. But it's like having a very powerful dog. You better discipline it, because otherwise it's going to be a monster.
You actually, to be a good SEAL, you sort of have this criminal mindset that you've somehow harnessed and you keep under control most of the time.
Yeah.
And occasionally it does get out of hand, and we got guys that get in trouble, and that happens. And if we only took guys that would never get in trouble, we wouldn't have anyone in the ranks, really.
Well, you also see, too, in the classic hero stories, you see this with Harry Potter, for example, which I'm making reference to because it was such a phenomenon. When something makes welfare mother richer than the Queen of England, you shouldn't take note, right? And when kids are reading 500-page books and standing in line waiting for the next one, and when you produce a whole movie empire around something, you should take note of that. Well, Harry Potter's little team aren't the delinquents, right, who have no discipline, but they're also not the good kids. They're the kids who will break rules when necessary. And that's the issue. Break rules when necessary. Now, the question is, when is that necessary? Well, that's sort of the ultimate ethical choice. The SEAL types, and I've met a number of people like that, they're capable of breaking rules, let's say, or maybe even inclined to break them. But I also think that this is part of the reason that I'm an admirer of Carl Jung, because Jung makes it very clear that, see, he was very interested in the barriers to enlightenment. Because if there's such a thing as being enlightened, let's say, then why isn't everyone enlightened? If it's just a matter of taking the glorious route and following your bliss, let's say, it's like, well, that sounds pretty easy. Why isn't everyone enlightened? But Jung's thinking isn't like that at all. He believed that in order to transform your personality, that first of all you had to be disciplined, that's for sure. But you also had to integrate that part of you that was terrible and capable of breaking rules and make it part of you. And so then, and I really like that idea. Well, here's an example. So about 20 years ago, I would say, there was a newspaper headline in one of Canada's major newspapers, and it was the Minister of Foreign Affairs at that time, Lloyd Axworthy, and he was talking about what had happened with Milosevic in the former Soviet Union in Yugoslavia and the atrocities that were being committed. And he said that he was caught unawares by that because he didn't have the imagination for that kind of evil. And I thought, well, You think that what you're doing is signaling your virtue by making a statement like that. But from my perspective, all you're doing is stating your cowardice and your historical ignorance, because if you're going to be Minister of Foreign Affairs, you bloody well better have imagination for that kind of evil. Because if you don't, then anyone who does wins. They beat you. And so again, in the Harry Potter stories, you see, he's touched by evil, right? He actually has a soul fragment that's embedded within him that's as black as anything can possibly be. That's why he can talk to snakes. But without that, he wouldn't be able to have any victory. And that's exactly right psychologically. Unless you can think the way that an evil person thinks, then you're defenseless against them, because they'll go places you can't imagine, and then they win.